we've put together a 40-year anniversary DVD to show you a little bit of the behind the scenes, how it was made, what were we thinking. We brought back some of the people that originally did it and made it happen. After 40 years, we still have the same passion that Phil had when he took a wooden duck call and a dream and made it into something so special. Thank you for all the memories of the years. It's fun to look back and watch them. We hope you enjoy this collection of 40 years of Duck Commander.
Black water, a cormorant cries, a wood duck song serenades the sunrise. Black coffee warms my lips, ain't gonna get any better than this. There's no doubt who made this place. When you're standing here, you can see his face. Well, I'm just glad to be part of the plan. Well, that's the life. That's the life of a Duckman. Squirrels are barking at the dusk. There's no one here but God's creatures and us. Pick up a lemon, head back to the truck, eating from the hand of the man who created us. There's no doubt who made this place. When you're standing here, you can see his face. And I'm just glad to be part of the plan. Well, that's the life. Well, that's the life of a Duckman. There's no doubt who made this place. When you're standing here, you can see his face. Well, I'm just glad to be part of the plan. Hey, that's a life. That's the life of a Duckman.
Through the years, people have come to me and they said, you know, how did you get into the waterfowl video business? Simply put, I just had never seen a waterfowl video.
I first met Phil at Ouachita Christian School. I was teaching science. Phil was one of the coaches at the school.
We rented the cameras, and I asked some of them guys up at church if they know how to run one of them, and old Gary Stevenson said, I think I can run one. I've never tried it.
I actually remember when Phil decided he was going to start filming duck hunting, and he was going to take Stevenson with him.
And then one day he asked me, he said, Stevenson, could you make a video? And I said, yeah, I can make one. 2 years went by, and the phone rings one night. He said, Stevenson, I found the place.
Of course, we had no idea what we were doing.
I think my dad always thought, you know, we'll just film what happens, and Stevenson was more looking at it like we're going to make a movie.
With Phil's personality and uniqueness, nobody had ever seen this kind of hunting done like this.
But it was non-existent when he started, when Phil started, you know.
I mean, they're loading up equipment to go down there hunting, and I'm like, wow, they're surely not going to take all that stuff.
They quit making cameras like we used and systems we used way back. What we used was being used by TV studios 30 years ago.
100% of the family group said, that won't work.
I didn't think that he'd ever pull that off.
Well, I don't think people are going to watch this. I remember thinking that. I might have been being a little negative. I just didn't think there were enough duck hunters out there who would get the word that this was happening.
Jace didn't like it because he said, you know, it's got to be some, you know, we had to do certain things. All Jace wanted to do was duck hunt. Old Stevenson told him one day, he said, Jace, you've got about as much vision as a stick of butter. Old Jace, he looked around. He looked at me like, what does that mean, you know?
We thought we had something unique. Our whole goal starting out was to land the ducks. We wanted to light them in the decoys. Nobody had seen that before.
I said, well, how will we know it won't work? It's never been tried.
And Phil said, we're going to light them in the decoys, and then once we've shown people we can light them right in front of us, then we'll shoot them getting up.
I think people might sit back, like to watch real duck hunting. I said, nothing fancy. Just go out there and we'll film what happens.
I was on the scenes for Duckmen 1. You know, they would take us and drop us off, and we would shoot our limited ducks, and then they would go film.
Let's cut them.
But then when they had the scene back at the camp, you know, picking the ducks and all, I mean, we were just like right in there, and I remember thinking, man, this is so bizarre. I mean, that they're trying to make a movie about duck hunting.
I remember the first tape, the first season, we were so green at it.
So we're not actors, so we'll just film what happens and let's see. And for about the first 2 or 3, I was beginning to think that the naysayers were correct.
The second one took 5 seasons, and it just about wore us out.
You remember the opening scene in Duckmen 2 where they had the duck bands? I mean, they like set that up for like hours. And they were actually, in the original, they were going to have a rattlesnake shaker, you know, as the, I don't know if they put that in there or not, I can't even remember.
But Stevenson was the one who said, I want a shot where you're shooting right at me. And his elbows were out like that a little bit. You know, he had his hand like this. Well, there was about an inch of elbow sticking out, you know. And that took, I think, 2 pellets in the elbow. But he took one for the team, as we say. Blood was dripping down him, you know. It was like, but that's some of the things, that's part of the learning curve. But some of the things we pulled, I wouldn't recommend that at all.
We don't even need to have that in there.
I was in a sporting goods store a few years back. I just happened to look at the wall where they had the waterfowl video. It was just solid. I thought, well, people did kind of like enjoy watching these things, you know.
But not only has he pulled it off, we don't have to carry the cameraman's grip anymore. Used to, I felt like a pack mule because I was carrying in all Stevenson's stuff for him.
A lot of fun and a lot of work.
Here we are 30 years later, 40 years later. It's been a good run.
As far as I know, the first guy we ever saw who had face paint on, at least among the Duckmen crew, I never even noticed it, and I actually didn't notice it then, but it'd be W.E. Red Dog Phillips.
Got to get it in town, you know, something new come along. I grab some in a sporting goods store. They don't get out much, you know.
It was brown to match his red hair. He had hair back then.
Of course, it might have been a sign of a weak self-image.
I didn't have a big beard and all that stuff, so I guess I need to make it up different ways.
He's extra white, that's why. The rest of us kind of tan looking. You know, he's white boy. That's why he had to use it first.
But it actually, as it turned out, was a good idea. I mean, you see Indians put war paint on. I'm just trying to cover up my mug.
If you take a wide shot of the duck blind, it may be camouflaged to the hilt, and the first thing you see is that big old white face standing out there if someone doesn't have a mask on or face paint.
Maroon color, black, gray, dark brown, and then you come to a guy's face, you know, it's just like holding up a white paper plate.
When I first started hunting with Phil, it was down on Moss Lake in that big tree blind, and there wasn't no face paint. So what we would do is we'd just get behind some brush or get some Spanish moss and hang over your face or something.
Duck hunters, it's a paranoid group anyway, but I believe the Robertsons are the most paranoid people on the face of the earth.
You just made a bad call on 40. Hit them.
That's just dumb.
But the pass before was closer than that.
You boys always talking smack about my shooting.
I just saw it. It's terrible.
I've been killing a whole bunch of them.
They were in front of y'all.
I'm not going to take the blame. You're in this duck blind. If they're 20 yards from me, they're 20 yards from you.
They were?
Well, I ain't taking the blame, Jack. You know, so you can get off of that horse. He's dead.
But they're too far to cut.
They can't see
They're
it.
way too far to cut. And then you said cut them, and I said they're almost there. And you said cut them. I said, okay.
I mean, we could have a group of ducks come in, and if we didn't get them all, somebody would say, well, who moved? You know, they saw your face.
It was always Phil telling me, get the face paint on. You know, don't forget the face paint. Everybody get it on. And he'd be looking down the line, talking about, all right, hey, you ain't got no face paint, put it on, son.
But I'm just going for effect. I'm just smearing. Get it over with. And Godwin's got the, you know, like the Buck Commander logo on his face.
That's how I do it.
I have now put face paint on people who hunt with us, mainly women and children. Neither one have whiskers. And women and children tend to be bright white if they're of European descent.
This gonna make you a official duckman here. Call back to the hen.
I was like, I'm not wearing that stuff. But then it came such a deal that everybody was putting it on, and if you didn't wear it, then you were like the one who was flaring all the ducks. So I finally had to succumb to peer pressure to wear this face paint.
It's a rough-looking thing, a clean-shaven man who's been in an office for all year and go to a duck blind. He's a sight to behold. So you dark him up a little bit, he's at least worth looking at, and ducks can't see him, so.
I'm not looking down, I'm looking at them. You ain't got face paint on, you can't do that.
And so now it's just a part of what you do. You wake up in the morning, the first thing you do, you look for a mirror, you put the face paint on, and then you're set for the day.
It sort of started the trend there, and it's really pretty effective.
But for us, it's pretty well when you get to the face paint, that means the action is imminent.
Killed them all.
We were always thinking, what can we do to help, just to add a little entertainment to the video? What would be a little different? It was Phil and Mac and Dane Burley, and on the porch, and it was in the afternoon, cloudy day, things had slowed down, and so, you know, hey, let's do a spitting scene. So
of course everybody's dipping and everything, and so we decided to do this. Well, it takes about, I don't know how long to do this scene, but it took a while.
Stevenson said, you know, y'all just start spitting and I'll just start filming.
No prompts, no special effects or anything, just slobber in the beard.
Yeah, you know, it went on and on.
At one time, the art of spitting was something to be admired.
And when you're duck hunting and it's slow, which is most of the time, you find stupid ways to amuse yourself. And I think spitting on things or seeing how much you could spit is kind of funny.
So what?
No.
I saw some old black women who had great grandma on the beat. Some old black women with whole cotton, you know. But I'd see them, you know, and they'd talk for a long time, but boy, when they let out a stream, it was the Mac Owens stream plus some. It was all together in one big long stream, and it'd go from here to that oak tree over there.
my favorite part of that whole scene was we put everything in slow motion for one part of it, including the sound. And Mac spit and the sound of his spit, however you call that, whatever you call that process, it had a great sound to it. It's just a unique thing.
It is kind of strange. That's been one of the scenes that people have remembered me for when they, say, hey, you're that guy that was spitting in the duck blind, and so I don't know if that's my wife sort of cringes when people bring that up, but hey,
I think Mac had the best. Of course, I had the worst because all I had was a cigar to work with. But
Dane had a little cigarillo he was chewing on.
I really don't chew tobacco, so I'm like, what am I going to do, you know?
So one part of the scene for him, he just started poking the end of it and just chewing it and poking it until he poked it all the way in. A little bit of tobacco, which was real, kind of came out the side of his mouth, and so his thing was chewing up his cigarillo.
Probably not too many people know this, but I took the cigar and I put it in my coffee and I sucked on it like a straw until it just was full of coffee. So when I asked Owen for a light, I just stuck that in my mouth, and if you look closely, you can just see that coffee just squirting out the end of that cigar.
And all I know is that I won.
Yeah, Mac definitely he won the spitting contest.
I was pretty impressed with Phil. Of course, Phil's a great marksman, and you know, he's just a natural, so he's looking around like he does, and he sees this shotgun shell on the brush of the blind, and he picks up this shell, and he's holding it just about arm's length and just staring at it, looking at it, chewing, working up one, and he spits. And he spit into the shell, into the hull of that shotgun shell. Pretty impressive.
That was pretty cool. And it was a little gross too. If I had the feathers in one location on the ducks that I have picked, and I had cameras on the scene to film it, it would be amazing on how far they would reach and how deep they would be. Be a lot of feathers.
You know, I was thinking back about the duck picking women and when that came about. You know, of course, Phil asked me if my daughters would come down there and do that, and I said, oh, of course they were.
We tried to teach Mac's kids, you know, the art of picking ducks, duck picking women, and I got them in the blind, you know, and we gave them a little lesson on how you got to roll them feathers off, you know, roll them off.
They have pin feathers on them. Tell you what though, it's gonna be some good eating.
You ready for some more coffee?
Ooh, you bet.
How about some breakfast?
Yeah, cookies. You girls are on the ball here this morning. Thank you, ma'am.
So when the girls came duck hunting that day, it was pretty neat because Phil would ask them some questions like, so why do you think women don't, you know, pick ducks?
Girls, do you understand that most girls y'all's age think that there's something wrong with picking ducks? They won't do it.
What's wrong with them?
So you know that's what happened when you raise them right there. That's right. Now that's a good question. I don't know what's wrong with them.
I think these little modern yuppie little girls, you could sum it up, just laziness.
But you girls are sure good to have around, I tell you.
Mm-hmm. That whole duck picking scene with the women in the blind set a precedent for every time we start talking to somebody, especially a woman, she'd say, well, I don't care if he goes hunting or not, I'm not picking his ducks.
A duck picking woman is a fine, fine woman, if you can find them anymore.
You know, be a lucky old boy, wouldn't it? Once upon these girls, think about it. Woo.
One of my wedding vows, you know, to Rosanna was, will you pick ducks? And she said, I will. And she did, and that was the end of that.
Miss Kay was a good duck picking woman.
Of course, my girls, they all grew up picking ducks.
You'll be a lucky man that catches y'all. Life is good.
They be wanting to get their own boat and shotgun too.
I guarantee you. Good bloodline of it.
Mm-hmm. And you know, people ask me a lot. They say, now that your daughters are married, do they still pick ducks? And my answer to that was, they never pick ducks. You know, they did that one day.
Their grandmothers picked them. Their mamas started slacking off. And the daughters, no.
3 things a woman's got to have before you marry them. They got to cook 6 meals and you check them out. They got to carry a Bible. They ain't worth having. They got to pick ducks. You know, what does the man want? So you're not asking for the moon here. Cook good, carry a Bible, and pick ducks. And that's the complete package, in other words.
Now, I will tell you this. They have married duck hunters, and they do cook ducks, but they don't pick ducks.
But it winds up him standing out there and picking the ducks, you know, for gumbos and such, or in the blind. A lot of them is picked during the lull period, and but most of the time he is picking it. He just jabbing the women a little bit about our women pick ducks, you know.
We slept on feather mattresses and pillows my entire childhood. The women would pick ducks and make pillows and, you know, mattresses out of them. And they didn't run them through some kind of process, so they smell like ducks. So my childhood, I smelt mallard duck all night long. Maybe that's why I love to chase them so much. I've killed quite a few deer while we've been duck hunting.
Deer hunting does not excite me. Eating backstraps, that excites me.
Yeah, the day old Jason and I were down on the wee hole.
We had 2 deer and we had 1 rifle.
You got that rifle. Is that rifle loaded? Look right out there. Right there in the middle. Right past that good green tree right there. See right there? Cut that sucker.
Boom, and next thing I know, it's contagious, you know. He's like, deer didn't run off. Let me show you, you got yours, I'll get mine.
Hand me that rifle a minute. We got something in this part of the country. Now you got yours. We got something we call a Louisiana duck hunt that broke out into a deer killing. 2 ducks and 2 deer right there.
I'm a duck hunter, but I like to eat deer, and now it's the best of both worlds.
So that's a pretty memorable little deer hunt there. That's my style of deer hunting.
Phil killed one last year, you know, a little spike. 3 of them coming through the decoy.
Well, when we heard the deer coming, Phil went from the temporary blind to the stationary blind.
We're sitting there watching them, me, Stone, Jace, and somebody else, and John. Then they come through the decoy and he picked the littlest one. And Trace went out there, was going to retrieve him, and then she looked at it when she got out there and said, "No, I can't swim with that one. A little too big."
Now look. He's got horns. He's a stag. Horns all over it, that's his backstrap, you know what I'm saying?
He actually shot the deer from the side, but since the cameraman was in the middle, it looks like he shot him head on, but the cameraman was not even close to where he shot from.
The running deer, that was the most awesomest thing that I ever seen on video.
And Greg calls me, he said, "Man, we got a shot of Phil shooting a deer. He rolled this deer."
But I knew we had something special, and I was glad to be a part of it. I mean, it was a spectacular deer flip.
Jason and I, we just shot some gadwall.
Got it? The only reason we were out there is because we were trying to train our new cameraman.
I was in what they call the tower blind, which is 20 foot up in the air. Mac Owens built it.
I mean, we shot 2 gadwalls. And Phil shot one of them going on the water, I'm going to say at least 10 times. Boom, boom,
Boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, bow, 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 boom, bow, bow, bow. And I just walked out there and retrieved a cripple, shot the cripple on the water, picked up the gadwall, walked back to the blind, and I would say within 2 minutes, Chase looks up and said, "There's a deer."
Because I was seeing his camera pointed on us. And I was like, there's a deer. You know, it's not here, it's there. There's a deer, there's a deer, right there, you see.
And I swung around and the handle on that tripod hit the blind that I was in, and I couldn't move any further, and all of a sudden the deer walked right into the frame. Lucky.
Middle of the lane. Cut that sucker.
And you know, I looked up, I said, "Well, good night. Where's my rifle?"
He finally got over there, and really his work had been a little shaky up to that point, and then it was just perfect.
And if you look carefully, the deer's walking and steps down, steps in a hole.
He clipped that deer on the top of the back, the first shot. And you talking about throwing him in high gear, he was a little spike what it was.
And Phil said, missed him. And you could hear him bolt another shell.
But then, you know, it's off to the races then. And you know, like a duck hunter, I got another bullet in there and I just led the deer like you would a duck.
He just calmly puts another shell in there and yow, and
Good time.
I'll take it.
And just the funniest thing was of the whole deal is when they got through, Jace was still wanting coffee.
Well, all right, you got some more of that coffee?
Yeah. Give me some more of that coffee.
that's the neatest thing to me is just seeing Phil how he doesn't get shook up about nothing. If he misses one time, so what? He's going to get him the next shot.
That was the thing. That was a world-class thing.
Just one of them moments, as they say.
It's going to be hard to do much better than that. It was just one of those unique things, which a lot of things with Phil are pretty unique, and that was just another one of them.
Good night, a bull Congo.
Congos.
Those Congos.
Congo.
Congos.
Congo.
Congo.
Congos.
Congo.
Congo means big black snake.
That these balls here will hurt you big time.
You know, when you think of the Congo, you think of the biggest, baddest snake in Africa.
As long as I've known Phil, cottonmouths have always been Congos, and I'm thinking, where did that come from?
We've always called them Congo. I guess that was, you know, when we used to watch Tarzan.
Tarzan.
Other names for water moccasins, cottonmouths.
It's a water moccasin.
Cottonmouth.
Water moccasin.
Cottonmouth.
Water moccasins.
Cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth moccasin.
Old Jim.
Jim.
Old Jim. I think that's a Phil-ism.
Old Jim be on that log right there.
I'm gonna go into the duck blind, but look out for old Jim.
Stump tail.
Stumpy.
Stubby tail.
Stump tail.
Oh, no shoulders.
No shoulders is one of them, you know, telling them, look out. He's around here somewhere.
I've seen cottonmouths, and they are just plumb mean.
Vicious, vicious, vicious thing.
Many bull Congos. Almost get us, we get them.
Right around here, real easy like. Now the crocodile man on TV will get up here and mess with him, but I guarantee one thing. I ain't never seen him grab a hold of one of them by the tail.
A couple times we've had some pretty good scenes of Phil shooting the snake up and him mentioning this is the difference between me and the crocodile man.
See, here's what I do. Here's the difference between me and the crocodile man right here. See, now we've got a much more even playing field. Now that's one that won't get me on the leg when I'm down here.
My philosophy is all snakes are poisonous. When you see them, they gotta die.
This is one of them kind when you marry him, you got a rifle in one hand, a tape measure in the other. 43 inches long.
I mean, most of the Congos we've shot have all been in defense of ourselves.
You better be watching what you're doing there with them things, so they can really. It's a bad bite, bad bite.
They will not only bite you, they will come after you to bite you.
There's a lot of footage that we couldn't show because I'm laughing so hard at Phil picking up snakes all summer long, working with him and holding them, and it was just ruined footage unless you put music behind it, because I'm laughing and crying at the snake jumping up trying to bite Phil, you know.
Hey, Si, you want some out action? I think we need another head whooping.
But most of the time they're not going to bother you, but there's just that one time that they could bite you anywhere. And I know Phil, he wouldn't quit hunting. You'd have to be on your own, leave out of there, you know, get help, whoever would help you, because he wouldn't come out there for a snake bite.
Got the middle. Good girl. My brother, they come in here right.
Oh.
Phillips, what about our swamp collie here?
Yeah, 4 died, 4 back in the blind. Pretty quick.
Good girl. Yeah. Set them in the pile there. Straighten them up. Good girl.
We've had some pretty good ones, some good ones, and maybe a few. I don't know whether any of them got into the great stage.
You know, when a dog is sitting on the shooting porch and just trembling, you know, because they can't wait, and I say she because all the best dogs we have been girls, but when she's sitting there and just trembling, waiting for the ducks, and when she's looking at the ducks and when she spots them before you do, that's a sign of a good dog right there.
You can't put go in a dog. You can take a little bit out, but you can't put none in it.
I want a Labrador retriever before we go hunting. Start spinning all four feet on the ground, throwing leaves in every direction, throwing dust and leaves, and that means that's them saying, let's get it.
My favorite dog was Miss Vegas.
She was a good dog.
In Vegas, that was the dog.
Well, like now that is a dog there.
Which I don't really remember anything about Vegas, because you know what happened with Vegas. Stayed with her.
Jace don't get along with dogs. And Jace don't like dogs. Maybe he likes them and just don't want to say he does.
People are going to get a wrong impression of me. I love dogs. I just don't like to hunt with them unless they're really good.
Boy, they clash. He don't like them. They know he don't like them.
The reason Jace doesn't get along with dogs too well is because they got quirks.
He'll get a dog and he's like, boy, look at this dog. And I'm like, Phil, the dog is pooping in the back of my truck every morning we go duck hunting.
and he finds it difficult to learn to live with the quirks.
Do you think I'm gonna like this dog?
Some things you just gotta go with the flow.
So you gotta let them work out the kinks.
You know, it's Phil's dog. He puts the dog in my truck. The dog poops. He won't put him in his truck. Then when we get out to the hunt, he's wondering why I don't like his dog.
Dogs and women get on Jason's nerves. Give him about 5 or 6 decades, he'll be all right.
Boy, that old dog, did that sucker quick or what?
We had Lisco in Nebraska. Lisco was a good dog, just a machine.
He was a leaper. He'd jump right off the cliff, and I mean, he caught him in the air trying to leave cripples. I mean, you know, he was a dog. He minded well. That was one of the better ones I've seen in action.
Gilly?
You're right behind that stump. Yep, he needs to go back to his left.
Uh-oh, she winded him in.
There we go, right there. Whoa!
Boy, that sucker is a, you talking about a dog.
He caught that thing out of midair, didn't
What are
he?
you talking about? That old dog there. He done won my respect, old San Francisco himself.
I like to snuggle up with dogs on the couch after the hunt.
I've had some of the finest meals in duck blind that you could lay your lip on.
You know, Phil and I had decided a long time ago that if we're going to be out there hunting, we might as well be comfortable, we might as well be full.
We'll fish these traps all through the winter.
It'll be enough to get by.
Everything right. We need just a big front in here. We're gonna be all right.
It got into where the blinds got bigger and bigger, and it ended up with basically a full operating kitchen in the back of the blind.
Tell them there's some jelly out there.
I got it. You got it.
There's a lot of food consumed in duck blind through the years. Every one of them was a fine meal too.
Some of the meals we had in the duck blind.
All sorts of wild game, you know, deer everywhere you can cook, doves, and quail.
Ham, roast, steak.
We eating shrimp? Yeah, shrimp.
Fish fries.
Spaghetti.
All kinds of biscuits, eggs, bacon, sausage.
Pretty well anything you can charcoal I've had in a duck blind.
I can't think of anything that we haven't eaten in the duck blind.
Old Owens and his biscuit pan, you know. We have eaten a many one of them. Mayhaw jelly, hot buttered biscuits on a good cold morning. Hard to beat.
That was a given every morning. We're gonna have biscuits with, you know, mayhaw jelly.
What I've always said is true. A wood can make biscuits no matter where he is.
All right, here you go, Phil.
Yeah. Mayhaw jelly right out of these same woods we're killing these ducks. That came out of the same woods we're killing the ducks. The mayhaw. Pick the mayhaws, make the jelly, make the biscuits, bring the mayhaw back down here. After we done picked them out of the swamp, you eat the jelly and kill the ducks. See how it works? Ducks, mayhaw jelly, just round and round.
Mac Owens biscuits are...
Everybody always wants to know where I got that biscuit maker from. Sorry.
I think when you eat Alaskan snow crab legs, that's going to be the top of the heap.
Jace, boy, we done hit the jackpot here. Ooh. Goodness.
We'll squeeze a couple of them and see them going.
Pretty soon, we wasn't shooting ducks, we were tearing into some snow crab legs.
You know, I just found out one thing. It's hard to put out one of them crab legs and even shoot a duck. You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about a meal fit for a king.
He said, don't eat too much, they make you sore, so rich. Well, I wish I'd listened to him because I did eat too much.
I put a little black pepper. I put our rub, Duck Commander rub on it. I sliced them right on the breastbone. I sliced them right on the breastbone. I put a jalapeno pepper on one side and cream cheese on the other. And then I wrapped them in bacon.
Roasted doves.
Looks pretty good.
Phil, what do you think about them doves?
You boys can go kill me a mess of doves every day and do like that. Cook them for me, all that. Clean them and cook them for me and feed me in the blind. That's why I raised them.
Them things were fine, I'm talking about.
My dad's theory, big boy, was, bring food, you get to go to the duck blind.
That's what you do in the duck hunt. You duck hunt and you eat a lot.
We've had some great meals. Food tastes better in a duck blind. Even sardines taste better.
In everything that we do, not just in the South, but especially in Louisiana, everything we do is planned around a meal, even duck hunting.
Look at this. And they wonder why we do it.
Behind this thing, something lit. What was that? Right here. Go. Hit you, go. Here they come. I mean, a huge bunch. Hit them. Got them this time, right here. Right here. Shoot that couple.
I mean, I think a rainout is a word that duck hunters have invented. I think it means when most of the ducks that was shootable fail.
Every shot is counting for something.
When everything lines up, and we've actually made it sort of an art form. The Army teaches it, grazing fire.
They holler cut them, and then they start coming up, and all that's available starts falling and hitting the water.
There's a group of ducks sitting in front of you. Phil says cut them, and in the next instant, there are no ducks there.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I mean, I think it's when everybody shoots a different duck and they rain out, not simultaneously, but within that window of boom, boom, boom.
First of all, you got to be able to call ducks. If you're just trying to shoot them in a pass, you're not going to get a rain out. This has got to be ducks that are decoying, so you've got to wait.
Si, you've been hollering about, boy, if I give me a bunch of blue-winged teal in here. There they were, and you just shot out amongst them. They flew all off.
I didn't expect them to say cut them.
The man to your right killed one, about the third one back. And so I said, well, I didn't even know what happened.
I don't think they come through that gap.
That's
If they did, hey, if they did, you down there asleep. Okay, because hey, you should have shot 3 times if they come through that gap.
I don't ring people either, bro. I wouldn't. See this?
I know. The gap is straight in front of you. If I'd have been standing there and said cut them, and they'd come in that gap, I'd have emptied my gun and killed 3.
I know. And you ring
Okay.
Size logic is like, hey, I was a quarterback, and now you want me to catch the pass.
Yeah.
I can't throw it and catch it. All right.
No, hey, you didn't throw
I threw the pass.
You didn't
they were
throw
right
it.
over in front
Hey,
of
no,
you.
no, no,
Now
no.
you want me
Forget
to
the
run
throwing
down
it.
there.
You got a shotgun down there. You didn't throw it, doodly squat. Okay? If you threw it, you'd have shot. Okay? You got to go this way, yo. You got a shotgun in your hand, you call it, and you ain't firing a shot. Something's wrong.
Thinking turned into just reflex because it's happening in literally milliseconds. 1001, 1002, 1, they're gone.
You know, if 30 come in and 4 fall, that's not a rain out. You can't say, boy, we rained those 4 out. No.
But if everybody's on like a chicken bone and the timing is right, it's doable.
Got to do it.
Now. Here!
I ain't never seen many ducks fall that few shots. 5 ducks flew.
One like hit me in the head.
He ain't been never running with them Duckmen either.
I mean, the greatest rain out that I remember was the teal going left to right.
Well, I don't know how many it was, 15 or 20 of them, we killed them all.
Right here on the left here, right here on the left. All right, get there right there.
I started in on just right. The call was right on when to take them, and their angle was right, and there were no misses.
We just got them all.
One of the most memorable rainouts, I guess, would be the one we were up in Washington. No, not Washington State. I think it was Idaho. But in that case, they kind of turned sideways just a little. They came in and they faded slightly to the left, and they were flying such close proximity to one another that when we got up, there was 5 of us on that one, and 5 of us rained out 17 out of the, I think it was 29 of them, 17 out of the 29.
The best rain out of all was when we had this bunch of jacks that kept coming around, and me and Phil's brother decided we're not going to shoot jacks. We were, you know, sort of above that now. I mean, we're killing good ducks. Why do we want to kill these stinking jacks?
Seen them coming over, and then all of a sudden they started just coming from everywhere.
He just kept on and kept on and kept on till it filled it up, and Phil said, "All right, boys, let's get them."
Well, about 300 of them lit right in front of the duck blind. And you know, when 300 of anything lights right in front of you, you'll change who you are really quickly.
It's raining jacks.
Let's get some of that action, boy. One of the most awesome sights is you know, seeing those jacks on those first couple shots, you know, just literally see the pattern of a 10 gauge go through 300 or 400 jacks. That was pretty sweet.
Jack, let's do it.
I'm sitting there and I'm loading my gun back up, and Si just spills a box of shells, and he looks up at me and goes, "I didn't get my shells." I can't load my gun. It's too much, man.
Keep your shell in the garden.
And W hollered out, "It's raining jacks," but he was laughing so hard he was almost crying. And Si was just, we turned around, and Si turned around to look at Gary to see if he got that shot, and he was just,
Can't keep your shell in the gun, boy.
I would have to say that's about the best rain out that I've been a part of, jacks or not. I'm Michael, and I'm one of the original Duckmen, but most people probably know me like Phil calls me, Owens.
I'm Burley Dane Jennings, and I'm one of the original Duckmen.
Gary Stevenson, the original director and cameraman of the first Duckmen 1 through 4.
I'm Greg Epinette. I'm one of the original Duckmen videographers.
I'm W. Phillips, one of the original Duckmen.
I met Phil 26 years ago, and I first became a Christian, and he was somebody I didn't know anything about, really. I didn't even know he built duck calls, but I knew that he was very evangelistic, and that he was winning people and helping people change their lives. And so I asked him, I said, hey, I want you to share with me how you do that. He said, yeah, okay, I'll get with you. Well, about 2 weeks rolled by, and I knew he'd been, getting with people, and he hadn't called me, so I called him up, and I said, hey, I thought you was going to give me a call. He said, well, I didn't think you'd be interested or whatever. I said, no, I'm interested. I said, next time you share with somebody, I expect you to give me a call. He said he hung up the phone, and he looked at Kay and said, I think he's serious. And so that started a pretty good relationship.
I don't know, we lived here 15 years, and it was just constant duck calls all day long, just quack, 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 quack. It's kind of quiet here now about that. We'd go there and we'd help turn them, and dip them, and Phil was, believe it or not, there was a time there when him and Miss Kay were kind of struggling. He was catching fish for a living, and he'd go out and run the hoop nets, and Miss Kay, she'd be backed up to the boat dock, getting the fish and going to town, selling them. They'd fill that little black truck up full of fish sometimes. And we went to Missouri one time to see Rose's folks and brought back a big old bunch of cedar. And that's how he made his duck calls one year. Now that cedar we brought back from Missouri.
There were bones, feathers. Phil had been up there the whole winter, literally spent maybe 8, 9 weeks in there, deer hunting, squirrel hunting, and duck hunting. So there were hides, bones, skeletons. It was a pretty unbelievable sight, and feathers everywhere. And so we go in and we cooked up something. I think we maybe ate out of cans. I don't think I ate out of anything he cooked. There was no washing of dishes. He'd just scrape off the dishes and just scrape it off. And whatever might be left over from supper, it just pitched out the front door. He said, "You've never heard the like of coon fights going on out there in front of the cabin during the night." But I can believe it based on what I saw. And I remember during the night, we're sleeping. And I hear this scuffling going, this shuffling going on. It woke me up, and I hear Phil's moving around, and all of a sudden there's this thump, some thump against the wall across the room. I said, "What was that?" Phil said, "Mouse in my beard." A rat had burned up his beard during the night trying to find a warm place. And literally wrestled it out of that beard and threw it up against the wall. And so you never knew what you would find at a camp that Phil Robertson had spent any time in, whether it be Congos or other critters.
Me and Al, I met him, we were about 11, 12 years old, and we started coming down through here, and Phil started building duck calls, and we put the packaging together, you know, and we went down the river one night and started drinking. And Phil found out about it, and he pulled up with his belt hanging out the window. We had to follow him all the way back, thinking, oh no, what's going to happen? And Paul and him had a white Chrysler, or Plymouth, and Phil jumped out of that truck and he said, y'all bend over that white car. I'll always remember that as long as I live.
I remember one time we were hunting up on a beaver pond with Jason and them, and we cooked ducks in a Coke can, basted in Coke. That wasn't real good either, but we were extremely hungry and we were killing ducks, so we just kept cooking them, and you could only get about one cooked in one Coke can. The aluminum would go, so you had to keep drinking Cokes and keep cooking ducks at the same time. So, but that was a different experience.
I remember one time we were up in Illinois hunting with Steve Smith. We'd stayed up there 4 or 5 days, and we got ready to go, and we got ready to clean our rooms up to go at the little camp. And I said, Phil, is that your underwear on the floor? He said, no, that's not mine. I ain't changed since I've been here. Yeah. True story.
That's a good one. I'm Willie Robertson, and I'm running for president.